My dear friends, I warmly welcome you all to your today's session of your QuickBooks training course. And today we are about to discuss a very interesting topic, and that topic relates to taxation. My dear friends, taxation is basically something that is an important aspect of all businesses around the world. And as you guys know that taxes are basically share of the government from the income of people, share of the government from income or revenue generated by people, and here by people we mean the people as defined by law. Alright, so different countries have their own rules, laws and regulations for everything, and different law defines a person or a people as different things. For example, a person might include an individual, a partnership, an association of person, a company, the federal government, the local government, the provincial government, etc. All right. So taxation is basically the share of the government from the income or revenue generated by people. And what is a person or what are people as defined by relevant laws. All right. And why is taxation actually collected by the government? So that the state of affairs of the government are continued to run. All right, state of affairs, they continue to run. So my dear friends, you know that whenever we talk about taxation, so basically there are two different kinds of taxation. There is one kind of taxation that is known as direct taxation, whereas there is an other kind of taxation that is known as the indirect taxation. Direct taxation is basically that amount of tax that you pay directly to the government agencies for whom that tax belongs to. And normally this tax belongs to the central or the federal tax collection agency, all right? And an example of direct taxation is basically the income tax. What is the income tax? Income tax is basically the tax that is paid by the taxpayer on its final income, that you also know as the net income when we talk about accounting. All right. Whereas if you talk about the indirect taxation, so the indirect taxation is different and separate from direct taxation in such a way that it is not directly deposited into the government treasury by the taxpayer himself. Rather, a third party is involved in the collection of this tax and the depositing of this tax into the government treasury. For example, the sales tax and the value added tax that we also known as VAT, and similar other taxes such as the FEDs known as the federal excise duties, etc. Basically, the law that is governing or the law that is being that is in operation in different countries actually decide what items are to be taxed directly and what items are to be taxed indirectly. All right. So this is basically the basic concept of taxation. Just give me a minute, please. Okay. So basically, over here in this particular topic, we are about to discuss about the indirect taxation. And as you guys know, that whenever we talk about the indirect taxation, so the indirect taxation primarily includes sales tax. Whenever we talk about sales tax, so my dear friends, sales tax is also paid whenever you make purchases of any kind, and sales tax is also paid whenever the business makes sales of any kind. All right. And whenever we talk about indirect taxation, as I told you guys earlier, so indirect taxation is basically not deposited into the government's treasury by the taxpayer himself. Rather, a third party is involved in its collection and its depositing. So what is basically the third party involved in this particular procedure? The third party can either be a manufacturer, all right, and the third party can also be a service provider, all right. For example, if you are purchasing something from a manufacturer, or you are obtaining service of any service provider, for example, a business has conducted audit, all right, and in order to conduct an audit, it obtained service of a chartered accountant's firm. So basically, the chartered accountant's firm is a service provider, and in provision of its services in accordance with the law, the chartered accountant firm, along with its fee, will also collect the sales tax that is basically in accordance with the rules of that particular country, in accordance with the rate that the particular law or the relevant laws have actually defined. All right. So the manufacturers, the service providers, or the retailers, all of these persons can be the collection agencies on behalf of the government and the depositing agencies on behalf of the government. All right. Now, for example, there is a business who wants to sell its item for 100 pounds. All right. But it is the government's policy that on every sale item, there must be charged a tax equal to 10%. So as we know that 10% of rupees 100 is basically 10 pounds. So this is, you can say, the gross selling price. This is basically the sales tax. And when you add these amounts up, so $110 would be the actual, you can say, the retail price for the end consumer, or you can also say it as the net selling price. All right. So whenever you guys purchase anything from the market, so the price tag or the price that is basically grossed over the wrapper or the packaging of that particular item is basically the retail price or the net selling price that is normally inclusive of the sales tax. However, there is another important thing that you guys must always remember, and you guys might also have experienced a number of times, that tax is always incorporated in the final amount. However, the amount of tax is also mentioned separately. For example, if you, let's suppose, buy an ice cream, so on the wrapper of that ice cream, you guys will see the breakup of this cost of 100 pounds in such a way that the gross price was 100 pounds and 10% sales tax, and this combined effort of the government and the retailer or the manufacturer actually contributes towards the net selling price or the retail price of 110 pounds. All right. So why is sales tax shown separately? Sales tax is basically shown separately because it is, first of all, a requirement of the law in many of the countries. And even if it is not the requirement of law, so there is another important thing that must be considered by the accountants, because this is actually the work of the accountants involved in the business. All right. So what actually happens is that this particular thing is auditable. There are basically three kinds of audits. An audit can either be an external audit, an audit can either be an internal audit, or an audit can either be a revenue audit. All right. The revenue audits are basically the audits conducted by the government agencies that are responsible for the collection and administration of the tax net, that they basically make sure that the returns, the tax returns that are deposited by the people, that means the tax that is deposited by the people or the taxpayers, is basically precise and accurate. All right. So this is why the tax information must always, the records that pertain to the taxation information, they must always be kept perfectly because this particular information is auditable. All right. Okay, my dear friends, there is another important thing that you guys must always remember about taxation, and that particular thing is basically the registration of a business with the tax authorities. Now, there is another important thing, and that important thing is that all businesses that exist, they are taxable. All right, to some extent, all businesses. Let me rephrase my sentence. All businesses must fall under different. Let me just correct my sentence once again. All businesses may fall into different tax regimes. So here the word or the phrase tax regimes is basically of prime importance. What is a tax regime? Tax regime is basically a concept that is used widely in the subjects of taxation. However, I am not going in depth in the explanation of this terminology. I'm just telling you the crux or the important point that you, being an accountant, must remember while dealing with businesses of different kinds. Actually, all businesses may fall into different tax regimes means that all businesses might be taxable, first of all. However, there might be some exceptions. Now, who tells that which business is taxable and which business is actually exempt of tax? This is basically the law that is governing the taxation rules in a particular location or a particular country. The other important thing is that the tax rate at which the tax must be charged. Even this tax rate is basically dictated and decided by the tax rules and regulations, and obviously the government decides these rules and regulations. All right. So whenever we talk about a tax regime, so this means that every registered businessman falls under any one or more of the tax regimes, means that it may be liable to pay sales tax or tax of any other kind to one or more than one tax agencies, and on more than one tax rates. All right, on any one or more of the products purchased or sold by that particular business. Now, why am I telling you all of these things? The purpose of letting you guys know all these things is that you are basically an accountant, and you are basically responsible for maintaining all the information about the business in your accounting system. And since we are talking about QuickBooks, so in QuickBooks we have to maintain all this data. All right, so we were talking about registration. So the registration, for in order to register, basically tax is only paid by people who are registered by the tax authorities. However, according to the law, all businesses must be registered with the government, with the tax authorities. However, in different countries, there are different rules and regulations. For example, if I talk about Pakistan, so there are some businesses for whom it is mandatory that they are actually affiliated, or you can say they are actually registered with the tax authorities. However, there are some businesses for which some relaxation also exists. For example, it is beneficial for them to get registered with tax authorities. However, it is not mandatory for them. Even there are certain businesses who are exempt from any kind of tax. All right. For example, a cottage industry. However, I'm not giving you guys any other specific example because different countries have different taxation rules and regulations, and I hope you guys have studied your taxation subjects while studying your ACCA or any other relevant qualification. All right. So now, after having developed these basic concepts about taxation, let us discuss how can we actually manage to maintain information about taxation in QuickBooks. All right. So let us move towards our QuickBooks and see how do we actually maintain these things practically. So my dear friends, welcome back, and I hope that you guys can see the screen that I am sharing right now. The interface you are much familiar with now, and now we are about to see that how do we have to maintain information about taxation on QuickBooks. So my dear friends, in order to establish and set up sales tax in the very first place, or you can say in the beginning, what do you have to do? First of all, you have to go to the edit menu on the menu bar. Once you select this, you guys will find the preferences option at the end of the list that you guys will have access to once you select the edit menu bar option. When you select preferences, this familiar screen will come in front of you. And if you guys remember, so this is the same screen that you guys used in your very first lectures when you were learning how to basically set up your environment. All right. So over here, you have to select the option of sales tax from the option that is available on the column on your left side. Once you select sales tax, the following window will appear in front of you, and what you have to do is you have to select the company preferences. Once you select the company preferences, the following page will appear in front of you. Now the very first question that you guys will come across is that, does your business charges sales tax? If your business does not charge sales tax, because it might be exempt of charging sales tax by the government, so you will select no, and you will see that once I select no, everything will disappear. It means that I have no other option to choose, because I am not paying sales tax and I am not charging sales tax, so obviously there is no need for me to fill any other additional detail. But over here we have to select yes. All right, now my dear friends, from this list you can actually select those items that are taxable and those items that are not taxable. All right, and which agency actually dictates or defines the standard that what item must be taxable and what item must not be taxable. It is again the rules and regulations that are governing the taxation principles in a particular country, and obviously these rules are different for different countries. They are different in Pakistan, they are different in the United Kingdom, they are different in the United States of America, and different in India and the other countries of the world. All right, so right now just click across over this particular window, and let me tell you guys another important thing that QuickBooks is basically offering you. QuickBooks is providing you by default a sales tax item that it calls the out of state sales tax. All right, so what is a default sales tax item? A default sales tax item is basically that item of sales tax that you guys regularly collect from your customers on behalf of the government and then deposit to the government treasuries, or you pay to your vendors on behalf of the government and they deposit in the government treasury. All right, so what is out of state tax? It is basically just a name given to this default tax. All right, so you can change the name of this tax item with the name of your choice. Now before we move any further, let me share the whiteboard once again in order to let you guys know about two other important concepts, and after we discuss them we will continue with our QuickBooks session again. All right, so my dear friends, I hope that all of you can see the whiteboard in front of you. When we were talking about sales tax, so I told you that sales tax is basically paid two times. Once you make purchases, for example, if you are a manufacturer, so you will be purchasing raw materials, and by using raw materials you will be actually making some finished goods. If you are a retailer, you would be producing finished good inventory, and you will be selling this finished good inventory to your customers with some margin associated with it. All right. Similarly, if you are a customer, you might purchase some services from some service provider. For example, the thing I told you earlier about a company obtaining services of a chartered accountant firm for an external audit. All right. Whereas sales tax is also paid at the time of sales. For example, this particular manufacturing business, all right, it gave sales tax to its supplier. Just remember that at the time of purchase, when you pay the sales tax, you are actually paying the sales tax to your supplier. And when you are making sales, so you are basically collecting sales tax from your customers. All right. So when you purchase raw materials, when this manufacturing business purchased raw materials, it also paid sales tax. And when it produced the finished goods and sold it to its consumers, so what happened? That the consumers also paid him sales tax, and he also had to pay sales tax on the sales that he made. Now, what about a trading business or a merchandising business? This business, it paid sales tax when it purchased the finished good inventory from its suppliers. And when it sold the same inventory to the customers, it again paid sales tax to the government on the sales that it had made. Same goes for the service providers. All right. So the tax that is paid at the time of purchases is known as the input tax, and the tax that is paid at the time of sales is known as the output tax. All right. These are basically two important terminologies that are used in the world of taxation. Normally, what happens is that at the time you have to pay your final liability, what do? It is basically the output tax that you have to pay to the government as a final liability. All right. So at the time of paying the output tax, what you do? You deduct the input tax that you have already paid at the time of purchases, and then the net tax liability, I am denoting it as NTL. It is basically the amount that you have to deposit into the government's treasury on actual purposes. All right. So now let us return back to our example. Let me share the screen with you guys. Yes, this was a screen that we had left off earlier. So I was telling you guys about the common type of sales tax. So you have to pay the input tax, you also have to pay the output tax. There can be one agency that is responsible for collecting taxation that is basically more or less involved in every of your purchase or sale transaction. Such an agency will be termed as your common sales tax item or your most common sales tax agency in QuickBooks. All right. QuickBooks has named it out of state sales tax item, but you can rename it. How can we rename it? We will see it later on in our today's lecture. All right. So my dear friends, what important thing I have to tell you guys right now is that whenever any item is taxable, you will see the word TAX written against its name at the time of making any invoice or receiving any bill. Whereas if any item is non-taxable, so you will see the words NON written over there. You can choose any other name as well, but you have a slot of only 3 alphabetical letters or alphanumeric letters that you can use. And in order to change this name, you can just select add new. All right. But remember that you just have a slot of 3 letters that you can fill. All right. Now, When do you owe sales tax? This depends upon the principles of taxation that are prevailing in a country, and it also depends upon the accounting policies of a particular business. All right. So here we will go with the flow, the thing that is already being checked over here as of invoice data, that means accrual basis. All right, because if you guys remember, at the time when we established our company, so we actually selected this particular accounting policy that we will make our accounting on the accrual basis. All right, and now here this is the option that when do you pay sales tax. So let us assume that we pay sales tax monthly. However, in different countries, this requirement might be that the person can pay sales tax either quarterly or even annually. But typically, in most of the countries, this requirement is to deposit or pay the sales tax on a monthly basis. All right. So now let us select OK, since we have established our sales tax. Now, first of all, what should we do? We must change the name of this out of state sales tax. For this purpose, you will have to access the list of items, and you know the exact place where we have to navigate. Please click on the list menu available on the menu bar and select the item list option. Once you select this option, you can see this particular list that you are now much familiar with. All right. And now what you have to do, you have to select this particular item out of state sales tax. All right, my dear friends. So now we have to edit it. You can edit it in a number of ways. You can double click it, or you can right click and select edit. All right. Now let us assume that there are three different, but we are not assuming. Let me tell you that normally in any country there can be three authorities that may be responsible for the collection of taxation: the federal authority, the provincial authority or the state level authority, and also the local government authority. All right. So let us assume that in our case, in the case of our business, we are basically dealing frequently with the federal authority. All right. So what do? We write Federal Tax Authority, and we also write a brief description. All right. Tax collected by the federal government. All right. Now let us assume that this tax rate is basically 17%. Now you have to select the name of the tax agency that is actually responsible of collecting this tax. This is basically the name of the tax. All right. You just write Federal Authority Tax. You can name it like this: Authority Tax. This is name of the tax. All right. For example, there are different names given to different kinds of taxes prevailing in different countries. For example, the income tax, the sales tax. The sales tax is further of various different kinds that we are just talking about. All right. That if the sales tax is charged by three different bodies in a particular country, for example, the federal government and the local government and the provincial government or the state level government, etc. All right. So here we have to select the tax agency. Now this is a surprise. When I have actually selected or clicked on this drop down menu, what I am seeing is basically a list of my vendors. Why is this so? This is because I think I have told this particular concept earlier as well, that in QuickBooks, all parties to whom we have to pay something is basically our vendor. QuickBooks treats that party to whom we have to pay anything as our vendor. Since we have to pay the sales tax or the income tax to the government, and this transaction involves paying the business something to someone else, so that someone else, even if it is the government for the taxation, so that particular body is considered as a vendor for QuickBooks. Likewise, anybody who has to give us any amount or from whom we have to recover any amount, be it our customer, regular customer, or some other party, QuickBooks recognizes that party as a customer. All right. So since we have to add a new authority, we select the add new button, write the vendor name as the Federal Board of Revenue. This is basically the authority in Pakistan, that is basically the federal authority concerned with the collection of taxation. All right. And you guys can see that the screen that is appearing in front of you is basically the screen that you guys are familiar with, and this is basically the screen that is used for recording our different vendors. All right. So just write the company name over here. You can write the full name down, and you can write an abbreviation upwards. Okay. And you can fill in any details that you have available or that you wish to write. All right. So Federal Board of Revenue, and just write Islamabad over here. So you can also select these, you can also fill these additional informations as well. All right. So right now we'll just go with the flow and select OK. Once you select OK, so this particular vendor has been now created, and now it's your job to select OK. All right, my dear friends, this is the spell check that QuickBooks is basically offering me. And now let us replace the error in the spelling that I committed, and now this is basically the particular sales tax item that I have just edited. And if you guys remember, so this is my default sales tax item. Now let us see what is the effect of this particular item. So let us go to the customer center and let us create an invoice for any particular customer. Let us wait for the invoice center to open, and then we will generate an invoice for one of our customers. All right. So first of all, we have to select a customer. Let us select Mr. Nadeem Beg. All right. And afterwards, what do we have to do? We have to select quantity item first of all. All right. Let us select any item from the list available. All right. Let us select insulation. Let us set up the price over here, be it 1000, and let the quantity be 3. All right. Now this is basically a non-tax item that is actually selected as non-tax item by default. All right. And here you can see that the federal authority sales tax is basically being charged at 17%. However, since this item is a non-tax item, so what will happen, that the tax is not being calculated. However, if we consider it as a taxable item, what will happen, that automatically the 17% sales tax will be charged. And now you can see that automatically by default this particular taxation item is now being effective in our invoice. All right. Now let us just clear it, since we are not in a mood of actually billing our customer for this particular item. The purpose for showing this particular demonstration was to give you guys an idea how the invoice actually works with the default sales tax item. All right. Now you guys can actually make a new sales tax item as well. For example, let us suppose that for a particular transaction, we come across a situation where we have to pay sales tax to 2 different authorities. So first of all, let us create another authority. For this purpose, we will access the items list and we'll create a new item. All right. So what is the item? The item is basically a sales tax item. So you have to write the sales tax name. Let us write the provincial authority tax. All right, you can write the description. Sales tax charged by the provincial government. All right, now if there are different provinces in the country, or if there are different states in the country, so here it is possible that the tax rate for different provinces or the different states is also different. So in order to appropriately record things, you can be more specific. For example, right now I consider that this is basically sales tax charged by the provincial government of Balochistan. All right, Balochistan is basically a province of Pakistan, so I just go with it. And let us suppose the tax rate is basically 5%. So I just write 5 over here. The tax agency, obviously I'll have to add a new one. Let me write QRA, company name, Quetta Revenue Authority. All right, so I just select OK, and this particular item is now saved. And this is again a spell check, but now I choose to ignore this because it is asking me to change the spelling of the name of a city that QuickBooks does not recognizes, and obviously I will not change it because QuickBooks is basically not familiar with the cities of Pakistan. Okay, so let us see how can our invoice be generated by taking an impact of two different kinds of sales tax in a simple or a similar invoice. So we go to the customer center and select, sorry, we have selected the incorrect option of the estimates. We are not in a mood of creating estimates right now, but let us see how our estimates created them. Now this is an interesting option, an interesting thing, something I didn't plan to, but it has just come in front of our site. So now let us discuss it. In order to create an estimate for any customer, first of all, you have to select the item. All right, and let's suppose this is the item floor frame. So this is the description. This is the, you write here the quantity. The system is just like invoice. All right, the only difference is that you are not invoicing your customer, rather you are giving your customer an estimate of your different goods or services whenever a quotation is being requested by any customer from you. All right, so we just clear it, and this is how you can create estimates. All right, there is nothing different in creating an estimate from creating an invoice. There's only a general difference that you guys know what exists between an estimate and an invoice. All right, so we just clear it and we go back to the customer center, or you can close this first. Yes, we go to the customer center and select the option for creating invoice. Select a customer over here. Mr. Akil Khan is our customer, the lucky person who is about to be invoiced by us. Here we have to select an item. Okay, let us select this cement group. Now this is a warning because we do not have sufficient quantity on hand, but still we select OK because we just have to do this. All right, we select another item as well. For example, this concrete. All right, we select its rate, be it 1000. All right, and the quantity equal to, you can say, 80. All right, a huge amount. So this is basically, my dear friends, this is basically a non-taxable thing, so we just make it taxable. All right, just for the sake of this particular invoice. Now my dear friends, what is happening? The thing is that you can see that 17% of the federal authority tax is being charged on the total of this invoice. All right, now let us assume that this particular service and these particular goods are being sold to a customer that is basically operating in the province of Balochistan. So obviously, along with the federal authority sales tax, a provincial sales tax of Balochistan will also be charged. So for this purpose, in order to incorporate this particular thing, what do we have to do? We have to select the item code and we have to select provincial authority tax. Once you select this, now you can see automatically 5% sales tax has been charged on this amount of 80,000. Remember, this particular tax will be charged on the value immediately preceding it, that is of 80,000. Now, if you are also providing this club item of Fauji Cement and ABC Cement, a combined or a group item, and also on the concrete, if you want to charge tax on both these items, what do you have to do? There are two options. Either you create, either you enter a provincial authority sales tax item individually after both these items, or what you do, the simplest thing, you just simply add a subtotal item first. Let's add a subtotal. Just give me a minute. Subtotal. All right. Now, once you do subtotal, this is the subtotal. All right. Now you charge the sales tax, provincial authority sales tax, and now you can see now the 5% sales tax is basically being charged on this amount of 124,250. All right. So this is how you can incorporate two or more than two taxes in a single invoice. So my dear friends, this is all for today. In our next lecture, we will discuss more about taxation and how do we deal taxation in QuickBooks. Thank you.